Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is your host JD. I hope you're all doing well and you've all had a great start to your weekend. Look, I'm going to get straight into this one. As we know, the controversy surrounding women's sports, it continues to go on and on and on, as certain male athletes out there aren't too happy about being banned from the female category within the sport they were competing in due to Trump's executive order. Or, and this is insane, despite that executive order, we still have men out there competing in different women's sports. What a time we're in, and this is what we're going to be checking out in today's episode. As first and foremost, trans athlete Sadie Schreiner once again has had a total meltdown after finding out they may not be able to compete in women's track and field ever again in America. Oh no, how devastating. And after that truly heartbreaking story, we'll then move on to women's fencing, as two males, and get this is just crazy, but two males are set to compete in the women's division during the USA Fencing Championship. But remember, this issue apparently doesn't exist. You know, people are exaggerating or simply making it up. Now, before we get into this whole issue that people are making up, if you guys could, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video, and let's get into it. So, Sadie Schreiner, this male athlete, has posted another video talking about getting banned from female sports, and I gotta tell you guys, before I click play, it might make some of you cry. I've warned you now, okay? So don't get angry at me when you're sat there crying over over a dude getting banned from female sports when they shouldn't be there in the very first place. You know, let's just get into this because I can't contain the tears anymore.
Today I'm in Maine for a competition, and I very likely just ran what will be my last meet in the United States. USA Track and Field has been following the IOC's 2015 guidelines on transgender participation, which is the same thing the NCAA formerly based their participation on before they blanket banned trans athletes. 2 weeks ago, I competed at a USA Track and Field meet under those IOC guidelines, and I applied 2 weeks ago to compete at this meet in Maine under the same exact policy. However, at 1 a.m. the day before the meet, just as Boston University did to me, they tried to threaten me by saying they now adopted World Athletics transgender policy.
Such a threat.
This came despite the fact that they still had their IOC guidelines up in their policy, and there was no information anywhere that they had made this change. Unsurprisingly, they quietly updated their policy without any statement to follow World Athletics, putting in place a blanket ban the day of my competition. USA Track and Field purely did this just to ban me from competing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's just about you.
Now, with the NCAA banning me, with USA Track and Field banning me, with World Athletics banning me, and with colleges too scared to allow me to participate due to Trump's executive order, there is nowhere in the country that I'm able to compete. This is all happening, of course, the same weekend as NCAA Nationals, which I had qualified for and registered for, but they silently took my name off the list without any investigation or any due process because, you know, if you see my name on a list, meets will just ban me, regardless of anything. So that's pretty much it. USA Track and Field has silently banned trans athletes due to my participation. The NCAA has banned trans athletes due to my participation. And World Athletics banned trans athletes back in 2023, despite the Olympic Committee continuously finding trans athletes to have a disadvantage in athletics.
What do you want to know?
And all of this is, of course, without me ever being in the conversation.
Oh no, you weren't involved in the conversation. I feel so terribly sorry for you. Look, there's one thing that is very clear when it comes to these male athletes who aren't too happy about, you know, getting banned, etc., etc. It is always about them. But what about the female athletes and how they might feel when they see a dude competing in their sports and they don't really get a choice, you know, unless they refuse to compete. But if they don't want to do that, they have to go along and watch a dude, most of the time, destroy the competition. Again, no consideration for them. Also, apparently, men do not have the advantage in athletics, so once again we have another person denying biological facts, as these woke activists always do. And you know, there's a way for this athlete and many other athletes, male athletes, to avoid all of this heartbreak, and that's just compete in the right category, because you're not getting banned from sports in America, are you? No. You're just getting removed from a category that you shouldn't be in to begin with.
So I will find a way to continue competing, but I doubt that it'll be in the United States.
Trans athletes always have and always will belong in sports. I have all the evidence in the world to support my competition. But organizations refused to meet with me before banning me. USATF had no merit or justification for this policy change and only made such a decision to ban me. No matter what, I'll find a place to compete and continue to fight for the side of science and human rights. Science. Nobody's saying trans athletes can't compete, just compete in the right category. If you're a dude, a biological man, compete against men. You know, it's very strange we don't actually see women competing against men, and I wonder why that one is. Oh yeah, because of the science, because of the biological advantage. Men see that and they go ahead and compete against women because they know it's easier for them to do better. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a very upsetting video uploaded by a male athlete because they simply cannot believe they're getting banned from women's track and field. What are your thoughts on it? I'd like to know. Let's move on to the next insane story. Can't believe this, man. So as you guys can see, Redux have gone ahead and reported what a ridiculous headline. 2 males are set to compete in women's division during USA Fencing Championship. How stunning, brave, progressive. There are the male athletes who clearly look like women. 2 trans-identified males are set to compete in USA Fencing's April North American Cup this weekend, just under 2 weeks after a dramatic knee-taking protest against men in women's sports at a fencing event in Maryland. So, if you guys don't know about that, a female fencer who goes by the name of Stephanie Turner refused to compete against a trans fencer, Redmond Sullivan. Went viral absolutely everywhere, of course. She got disqualified from the competition because she refused to compete against somebody that shouldn't be in the competition to begin with. Make it make sense. Annika Suchowski, 40, I definitely didn't say that name right, and Daniel Ann Crockett, believed to be 66, are entering their respective age categories for the women's EP at the tournament, both of which are set to begin on April 11th at the Los Angeles Convention Center. News of Suchowski's participation in the women's category first came to light in September of last year, when just after 6 months of competing in the sport, he came second in the Fortune Fencing Regional Championships in Ontario, beating all but one of his female competitors. You have got to be kidding me. This dude had been competing for just 6 months, and then they go ahead and finish second in a regional championship. Left is right, up is down, and common sense is hard to find. I'm surprised it took me this long to say that in a video. It's got to be a record, right? Crockett, the other trans fencer who has been calling himself Ann since at least 2022, currently serves on USA Fencing's Domestic Assignment Committee for Referees. What? Meaning he has control over the hiring for the referees of the 8 national tournaments held each season by the organization. Yeah, and I wonder what sort of referees they're hiring. People with no common sense. And that includes the North American Cup this weekend. Crockett is also a member of the Rules and Examinations Committee, which is responsible for making decisions on fencing rules and maintaining the USA Fencing Rulebook. What an absolute joke. What can you say, guys? It just seems like this issue is just not going to stop. Despite, again, Trump signing an executive order, we still have men out there in different sports still competing. These people, the organizations, they need to comply. To not comply and just to live in the land of delusion is just a massive injustice to all the women who are competing, for example, in fencing. They deserve to compete against other women. They deserve to have a safe and fair environment and not have all of that thrown out the window just because some dudes out there think, oh, I'm a woman, so I'm going to compete against women. Like, what are we doing, man? But that is the end of the video, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure, again, to leave all your thoughts down below about everything discussed in this video. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Share this video, follow my socials down below in the description. But until next time, it has been your host, JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.